my name is Michael. I'm just an average employee at a company in New York, nothing particularly outstanding in terms of performance. However, the company's sales have been increasing year by year. The man said to be the biggest contributor to this growth is John, a guy 2 years younger than me. Man, John, ever since you joined, our company has only had good news. Our boss praises John excessively. Recently, we managed to secure a contract with a major corporation, which seems to have led our company to its highest revenue ever. Expect an increase in our bonuses, for sure. Yeah, right, Haga. John smiles at the boss's words, but his smile seems a bit forced. Then he turns to me, sitting next to him, and says, "Is that okay with you, Michael?" I reply, "It's fine. I find that kind of stuff bothersome." I say this as I continue my work, day in and day out. This way of living is really comfortable for me. Then one day, my boss called me over. Sorry, Michael, I have something important to discuss." "Yes, what is it?" "You know the major client that John secured for us, their CEO's daughter, for some reason, wants to have a blind date with you." A blind date? Although I'm usually a quiet guy, I couldn't help but raise my voice in surprise. "Why me?" "Well, it seems that the CEO's daughter saw you at the company and took a liking to you. I don't quite understand it myself. But she contacted our president directly to request at least one meeting with you." "But I mean..." Seeing my confusion, my boss pleaded, "Please. This contract that John got is our biggest yet. We can't embarrass the daughter of that CEO. You don't have a girlfriend, right?" "Well, I don't have one, but..." "Then it's perfect. Look, here's a photo of the CEO's daughter." He then showed me a photo, already received for the blind date, in a fancy ivory photo frame. Before I had even met her, he had already seen a photo of my blind date partner. I was taken aback, but the moment I saw the photo of the CEO's daughter, I was also captivated. Seated, with her hands together in front, she turned slightly towards the camera, offering a modest smile. Seeing her somewhat shy expression, I thought she was quite charming. Her name, it seems, is Catherine. She's really beautiful. I couldn't help but say it aloud. That's right, I'm totally jealous. A beauty with a good family background. You couldn't ask for better conditions. Afterwards, my boss kept stressing to me, if you're going to refuse, do it politely. And in a way that doesn't hurt the other party, and without damaging our company. I'm counting on you. Though, you might get turned down before you can even refuse. He repeatedly emphasized this to me. Above all, he told me to prioritize not offending the other party. But why you, Michael? Honestly, they should have just chosen John, the one who negotiated the contract. Why did Catherine want a blind date with you, who just followed John around? Your prospects are completely different from John's, right? Yeah, I guess so. My boss looked puzzled, but I had no idea either as to why Catherine chose me as her partner for a blind date. And really, my boss was being too frank in front of me. Saying I have no prospects is none of his business. Sure, Catherine is beautiful, and I'm honored that she wants to go on a blind date with me. But considering she's the daughter of a client's CEO, I can't mess things up. I feel like I'm getting wrapped up in something troublesome. News that I got a blind date offer from the CEO's daughter quickly spread throughout the company. The female employees in particular, who seemed to love romance gossip, started whispering as soon as they saw me. It's amazing, the person you're meeting for the blind date is really beautiful, right? If you marry her, Michael, you'd be hitting the jackpot, wouldn't you? But why Michael, I wonder? If it were me, I'd definitely choose John. I wanted to tell them to speak more quietly, but I pretended not to hear. However, I didn't like it. Even though I've been trying to keep a low profile, I never expected things to end up like this. Sigh. As I sighed, John next to me said, "Good work today. I heard about the blind date. That's amazing, Michael." Not amazing at all, really. Why didn't she choose you, John? Then John said with a smile, maybe people who need to see, do see. All I could do was shrug my shoulders. But really, it's a mystery. A beauty like her could have anyone she wanted. Anyway, I just have to make sure I don't mess up terribly. With that thought, I waited for the day of the blind date. A month later, I headed to a restaurant in New York. It was the place set up for today's blind date. The time has finally come. My steps were heavy, having my precious day off taken up by a blind date. But, knowing I couldn't run away, I headed to the venue. On the way there, I heard a loud female voice shouting, "Stop," and turned towards the sound. There was a woman, wearing a large hat covering her face, being harassed by a blonde, dark-skinned Yankee-looking man. "Stop, let me go." The woman desperately raised her voice, trying to shake off her wrist, but the Yankee man just said, "Shut up," and didn't let go. "Come on, lady, let's have some fun." "Stop, please stop." The woman finally collapsed in tears from fear. The Yankee man, trying to pick her up, said, "Get up, you don't have to be scared." Seeing this, I acted before I could think. "What are you doing?" I immediately intervened, grabbing the Yankee man's hand. "Who the heck are you? Just let go of her, please." "Shut up." I ignored his words and tried to pull her away from him. But the Yankee man, taken aback, tried to push me away, saying, "Stop it." Then his arm hit my face, cutting the corner of my mouth. I didn't feel much pain due to the adrenaline, but I could taste the blood in my mouth. Seeing the blood trickling from my mouth, the Yankee man, apparently not expecting to injure me, looked surprised, then tutted his displeasure and left, saying, "Fine, whatever, this is too much trouble." As I watched the Yankee man leave, I felt a soft touch on my mouth. The woman who had been grabbed by the Yankee man used her handkerchief to wipe the blood from my mouth. "Are you okay?" she asked, looking up at me with concern. At first, I couldn't tell because of the hat, but up close, she was quite beautiful, making my heart skip a beat. But this woman, I feel like I've seen her somewhere before. Then, with a blush and a happy smile, she gently removed her hat and said, "You haven't changed since that time." I blurted out, "You are," in surprise. The last time I raised my voice like this was when my boss approached me about the blind date. Yes, the woman I had just saved was Catherine, my blind date. I can't help but feel it's fate being saved by you twice like this. Catherine gazed at me dreamily. I almost got lost in her big, black eyes, but shook my head vigorously. Wait, we're supposed to be meeting for the first time today, right? What do you mean by twice?" While wondering why she was alone, Catherine said, "Let's go to the venue for now," firmly holding my arm and leading me away. Despite being the daughter of a CEO, she was quite assertive. Her sweet shampoo scent wafted up as we got close, making my heart race. Upon arrival at the restaurant in New York, I thought Catherine's parents might be there, but it was just the two of us. So, it was just a meeting between the two of us, despite being labeled a blind date. While pondering this, we exchanged brief greetings and savored the food that was served. Then Catherine began to address my questions. "You might not remember, Michael, but when I was in high school, you saved me just like today." "Is that so? Wait a minute, that means..." If my memory serves right, that was about 5 or 6 years ago. Indeed, I had saved a girl being grabbed by a man. Such heroic scenes don't happen every day. So, the girl I saved back then was Catherine. "Wow, I didn't recognize you, you've become so beautiful." My honest fart slipped out. "Be beautiful, I'm not that." Catherine murmured shyly, blushing profusely and looking down. I had thought she was forward, but maybe she's quite innocent. That's tough, being approached by men on the street so often, isn't it? Well, yes, I wear this hat usually to avoid unwanted attention from strange men. Indeed, Catherine had her hat pulled down. So far that it was hard to see her face until I had saved her. I was really scared. I thought I was going to be taken away. I was trembling with fear when you saved me, Michael. I'm so grateful, and I still remember, back when you saved me, you smiled and told me, it's all right now. I've always remembered that smile, and since then, I've always had feelings for you, Michael. She turned even redder, as if steam might come out of her ears, unable to say anything more. Realizing been thinking this much about me, I'm starting to feel strange too. I was thinking about how to politely decline, but now I'm wondering how to ask her out for another meal. As I was about to make up my mind and say something, suddenly, a loud commotion echoed from the hallway, and the door to the room where Catherine and I were dining abruptly flung open. There stood a man with a magnificent beard, who shouted loudly, "Catherine! Oh, father! Your father!" Of course, I recognized his face. After all, he was the president of the major client John and I had directly negotiated a contract with. As it turned out, Catherine learned of my existence when I visited her father's company with John for business. Catherine, working as an office assistant there, was quite surprised to see me initially. She wanted to get in touch with me somehow, but being quite sheltered with little experience in love, she didn't know how to approach me, so she skipped several steps and asked her father to set up a blind date, telling him she liked someone. However, her father was strongly against it. But instead of giving up, Catherine made a bold move. She called our company and personally initiated the blind date. Unbeknownst to our boss, the president of our company, and even her own father, they all thought the other had agreed to the blind date. Catherine's father said to me, "Now you understand, don't you? I want my daughter to be happy." And naturally, financial stability is a part of that. I would have considered it if it was John, the one who made the deal with our company. Catherine's father told me not to take it the wrong way. His eyes conveyed the strong intent of a father protecting his daughter. But money, Catherine glanced at me, a lack of confidence in her gaze. I was drawn to Michael's personality. I don't think having a lot of money is necessary. Having spoken with her today, I understood her personality better. Pure and innocent, but sometimes daring enough to release the brakes. Yet, she's really shy. How much courage must it have taken for her to invite me this far? I couldn't back down now. There was no way I could. With that thought, I turned my gaze to Catherine's father. If I had the same abilities as John, would it be all right to proceed with the blind date with Catherine? Really, you were like John's sidekick, right? He was the one sitting at the negotiating table. Do you think you can negotiate like him? Catherine's father smiled, as if testing me. However, I firmly stated, I have a good proposition. I heard about the major project currently underway at your company, but recently, haven't there been equipment issues causing delays? When I said this, Catherine's father's eyes widened. Where did you hear that? Well, I get information from various sources. So, it seems you're looking to negotiate with a certain company to solve this problem. Would you like me to introduce you? I mentioned the company's name, and he looked even more surprised. That's the connection we desperately wanted. Who exactly are you? I simply smiled and said, when I really put my mind to it, I can accomplish quite a bit. There's no trick or gimmick to it. In reality, I'm quite capable, or rather, it feels strange to say it myself, but I'm competent at my job. It's no exaggeration to say that I've been responsible for half of our sales department's revenue. The reason I've remained just an ordinary employee is because I hate standing out. I joined this company after changing jobs. At my previous company, despite being new, I was the top in acquiring clients. However, I was bullied in my department for being too brazen by my seniors. That experience traumatized me, and when I joined this company, I decided to avoid standing out. I did my job to a certain extent, but if there was a big deal, I'd pass it off to my seniors or juniors without getting noticed. So, until now, no one knew. But recently John, a junior, found out about my secret efforts to give him credit, so I begged him to keep quiet. The same goes for Catherine's father's company. My specialty is gathering information. Though I let John be the face of negotiations, I was the one guiding the path to the contract. In order to prove that once again, I took all the information I had and shared it with Catherine's father. I could tell his view of me had completely changed. After that, I rapidly improved my performance at work. Whoa, what's gotten into him? He's like a different person since that blind date with the CEO's daughter. My boss remarked in disbelief. To that, John unnecessarily added, that's Michael's true capability. He doesn't seem to want to hand over his achievements to anyone anymore. Wow, it's amazing how a person can change when they have someone they like. I felt my face heat up at my boss's words. There's nothing wrong with working hard for someone you love. I don't really want to stand out too much. But I also wanted to be recognized as soon as possible. Thinking of this made me picture Catherine's face. John was happy that I showed my true abilities. He had looked up to me as a role model and wanted to surpass me one day. He had mixed feelings when I passed a credit to him. In hindsight, I feel bad about it. I promised to compete fairly from now on. Then, my efforts seemed to pay off as I received permission from Catherine's father to continue pursuing her. Will I be able to call the president father-in-law someday? I don't know yet, but I'm going to have another go at a blind date with Catherine. I've earned a chance to take a step forward. It's not just about financial strength. I want to be recognized as a man for who I am, and I'm going to hold my head high.